In this presentation, I present the second milestone for my educational technology project for the development track. This is a task authoring tool for computer-based testing. I am developing a tool that captures the modeling of learning objectives used for instructional design. Learning objectives are described as tasks, something that a learner can do at the completion of training. Today, I have a high-fidelity prototype demonstrating my continued progress toward completing this tool and highlight some of the added features. Although the basic functions were presented last time, I believe that some review of the primary concepts have merit. Use the provided links within the presentation to access the design documentation and full proposal for further information. By means of review, these are the main concepts of the task modeling tool, and this is what motivates the development of the tool. The task authoring tool is intended for instructional systems design, ISD. A component of ISD is task analysis. In the last presentation, the concept of task authoring was introduced. This tool allows tasks to be authored in a hierarchical manner so that the instructional designer can input learning objectives that can be used for creating a computer-based test. The key idea is that a complete task list for a course of learning should contain all of the learning objectives. The hierarchy used in this project has 3 levels, called phases, tasks, and subtasks. During a modeling session, a subject matter expert, SME, or instructional designer will first outline the top-level tasks or phases of learning. If the goal was designing a course on data visualization and analytics here at Georgia Tech, the top level might be the major units of the course: R programming, data visualization, data processing, logistic regression, regularization, and linear regression. Phases completely contain the course of learning or the subject to be trained. In the next level of the hierarchy, the SME can define tasks, specific skills or knowledge within the phase. Continuing with the example of designing the data visualization and analytics course, let's zoom in on the phase of R programming. There are 4 tasks that a student must cover to complete the R programming portion of the course. 1 is environment configuration. The next is control flow, followed by data structures and functions. In the lowest level of the hierarchy, we define subtasks, which are more granular tasks that represent the smallest units of knowledge or skills that are needed to perform the parent task. Continuing with the same example, we see that the task of environment configuration has 3 subtasks: installing and loading packages, running scripts, and viewing documentation. The demonstration provided focuses on the newest features that have been implemented. Data persistence has been added so that items can be saved to the database along with the basic create, read, update, and delete capabilities. Additionally, there is now the ability to reorder items and to add item descriptions. In the last milestone, we demonstrated the basic functions of the task modeling tool. Primarily, that was adding phases, tasks, and subtasks. The SME can add tasks, phases, or subtasks by clicking on the respective Add Phase, Task, or Subtask button within their course design. I wanted to focus this demonstration on the iterative nature of this tool. That is, that an SME that's modeling a course would come back to this tool over several sessions as they completed the input of their learning objectives. Using the example from earlier in the presentation, we're designing a course on data visualization and analytics, similar to the course that's being presented at Georgia Tech now. We've already started by adding the phases of R programming, data visualization, data processing, logistic regression, regularization, and linear regression. At the top, under R programming, notice that we've input a few tasks. These are in a medium gray color currently for this demo. We have environment configuration, control flow, data structures, and I've made a mistake here, but I can correct this. After data structures, we have functions, and I'll save that. To demonstrate how we would add to this course, I'm going to add a new phase called regression analysis. And when I save it, writes the phase to the database and then reloads the entire task hierarchy. So we're going to add a task under regression analysis. First of all, we'll call that regression error. And I'm going to make it the first task. And then I'll add another task called regression residuals. Under regression error, I want to add two subtasks. These are two things that I would cover in the course that would be a part of teaching regression error. One of those would be mean squared error, and I'll save this subtask and add one more, that is the root mean squared error. So now if we refresh the page, we shouldn't see any changes. The entire hierarchy is loaded. Now, if we wanted to, we might decide that we want to teach regularization after we teach regression analysis, just for example. So we're going to reorder that by changing this phase to the number 7, and then changing regression analysis to come after linear regression. So I'll make it number 5. And then finally regression analysis will be number 6. So just to demonstrate, now we have logistic regression phase, the linear regression phase, regression analysis, and then finally the last phase is regularization. We could also reorder the tasks if we wanted, and we could reorder the subtasks. For example, if we wanted to place mean squared error second as the second subtask, we would place it with the number 2, and then root mean squared error would have the number 1. And notice that they've now been reordered. The last thing to demonstrate is the addition of descriptions. So when someone is inputting the learning objectives, they would want to have a brief statement of the task. For example, under regression analysis, we're teaching regression error. And now it would be appropriate to add a brief description that would highlight the primary concept or a one-line summary of what regression error is, and then we could further expand that idea by providing a summary for root mean squared error and mean squared error. Okay, now we've added the descriptions to the regression error task, to the root mean squared error subtask, and to the mean squared error subtask. This gives the SME an idea of the definition of each learning objective. and will help them as they continue to design the course.